Hi guys, I wanted to do a video about puppy biting, and specifically Rottweiler puppy biting. If you've ever had a puppy, you know that they bite. You know they chew a lot, but I've had different breeds of dogs, and I've never had a puppy which would bite so much as a Rottweiler. We need to correct this before she gets bigger. When we first got her, even at 8 weeks old, she was like really vicious. We have kids and she would nip, she would bite us, and sometimes it would actually get aggressive. There was points where we would pick her up and she would growl and try to bite us. It's gotten a lot better, but you do have to correct it right away. You don't put her down until she's calm. You show her who's boss, because it was aggressive and I wasn't used to it. That's why I think that they say that Rottweilers aren't for first-time dog owners. You do need to know how to handle a dog, and the rest of the family needs to know how to handle the dog. It's okay when they're this size, but when they're 100 pounds, over 100 pounds, it's not going to be so cute. So you want to do this right away from the very beginning. As soon as you bring this dog home, it's okay to correct puppy behavior. Even the mothers will correct puppy biting. You have to be able to get on them while they're this little, because you do not want a dog that bites when it's older and more powerful. What you can do is a few things. You can, grab the scruff of their neck. Obviously a lot harder. Pull on their collar back so they get away. I had to teach my kids to pull back on her collar when she would bite them, because they weren't comfortable getting near her mouth. A lot of what I did is I would wrap her teeth around her gums in here when she would bite me really hard, especially, and I would squeeze her teeth against her lips, and it would hurt her. And it also teaches, when your fingers are in their mouth, that they shouldn't bite down because it will hurt. That kind of corrected her really fast. They do need a lot of correction, and the whole redirecting thing where you're giving them a toy to distract them, it really didn't work for her. At least you just had to correct her behavior right away. Just giving a toy to distract her, she would just go right back to it and she would still continue biting. Another thing that you want to do is where you stick your hand in her mouth and you just let them bite. If they bite too hard, scream out, just like a puppy would do. It helps them control the pressure in their mouth so that they are not biting too hard. So when they're older, if they happen to snap at you, they won't bite all the way down with their full pressure, because they could break your hand. That's a few things that you can do, but definitely correct the behavior while they're this young, and as soon as you bring it home, don't be afraid to correct your puppy, and especially teach your kids. Correct the puppy also, however they're comfortable. Like our kids were more comfortable, pulling back on the collar instead of, sticking their fingers in her mouth like I was doing, but it was more effective. There's several different ways you could do it. Just do something, because do not let them get away with it, because you will regret it later on, because these dogs will get very large. And if you don't start from, the time you bring her home when they're 8 weeks old, then you will have a big problem on your hands. Have a great dog when they get bigger, and you do not want this dog to be biting you and not knowing the strength of its jaws, because they do not know their strength. Especially if you have kids like I do, teach them to correct the dog as well, because you can't be right there all the time. And your kids do need to know how to let that dog respect them as well as respecting you. There is a pecking order with these dogs. They do see weakness. They will see your kids as on that pecking order, and you don't want that dog to think that it is above the kids. So I teach my kids to correct her. I teach my kids to train her, get them involved with the dog, because the dog does need to respect your children as well. You do need to keep more of an eye with kids with the dogs, but they do need to know how to handle the dog as well. I don't think redirection really helps with this breed. I could be wrong, but just specifically with her, it did not work. She needed more correction and a tougher correction. She is getting a lot better. especially when we first brought her home, nip at our heels, bite at our legs, rip at our pants. We've had to correct that behavior. Correct it while they're this small. You don't want a big dog that is doing the same behaviors as this little puppy, because the dog could outweigh you and can do some damage. So correct it, your kids to correct it, find different methods to correct it, which works for you, and you will have a better dog for it. Improved so much since we've gotten her. I mean, she's bites less, isn't as aggressive. She's calmer a lot more. So just keep up with those steps and hopefully you'll have a better puppy for it. All right, thanks guys. Bye.